Hello everyone, this is Nick from HF Survival School, and as you see today I have quite a few knife sharpening systems with me. I have a lot of experience with all of them. I have sharpened more than 1,000 knives on all of them, and I want to tell you all of the pros and cons, which one you should buy, which one you should avoid. I think this will help you make the decision more easier and tell you if one sharpening system is for you or maybe one is not for you. So let's get right into it. The first sharpening system that we will be looking at is this Tormek T4, as you see. It is a Swedish knife sharpening system, and it is good because it is water cooled. So if you don't know, when you sharpen your knife, the friction which causes to remove the metal is heating up the metal as well, and so that you don't lose heat to it, you need to cool it. This way, it has a small water container on the bottom, and when it rotates, as you see, it brings up the water. This way the blade stays cool all the time. It comes with this kind of grading stone. They say this is because you can rough this original stone or make it finer. So for example, if I turn it on and put it with this side, it will make the stone more low grit, therefore it will remove more metal. And if I use this to grade the stone, that means it will be more fine. So let's grade it at first. There, this should be enough, and I will demonstrate the sharpening process with this knife, which is already razor sharp, but you know, I don't have, to be honest, any dull knives at this moment, so I will be sharpening this to show you how it's done. It comes with this kind of angle guide. This is for putting the blade inside, and when you look through it, you look from this side, you'll see what angle is your knife. Then you put in the corrections here. You put the stone size on this scale, and then on this one you put the angle that you want your knife to be. Then you take the knife holder which it comes with. This is a large knife holder, and I'll be using this because I can't find the smaller one. This was extra cost, it doesn't come with the kit. As you see, it is pretty big for this knife, but what can I do? I cannot find at this moment the smaller holder. So how you measure the angle is like this. You can put this rod up and down. After the angle is set, then you can turn it on and do this kind of motion to sharpen the blade. Then you do the other side. And then when you're done with that, you remove the holder. And then you use this other wheel, which is a leather wheel. It comes with this kind of compound paste. You put it on. Like this, so that you spread it around the whole wheel. And then you make sure to put the knife on it the right way. This time I have the machine around the camera so that you guys can see it from the front. But ideally I would be on your side of the machine and doing this from that side. That's because if, for example, you are sharpening the stone, you can sharpen it from this side so that the stone comes against the knife or goes away from the knife. It doesn't matter. When it comes towards the knife, it just removes more material. For that, you can remove this rod and put it on this side, and this way you can change the orientation of the wheel towards the knife. When using the stropping wheel, or generally you strop on a leather strop at home, you need to make sure that the edge isn't going against the leather, because it will just cut inside. You need to make sure that it is going away. It is pretty awkward doing it the other way around. And just like that, we should have a razor sharp edge. It also comes with different kind of attachments. For example, this scissor sharpening attachment. It goes like this. You put your scissors in this jig. Again, I was not ready to film this video today, so I don't have a scissor with me. And you sharpen your scissor this way. Overall, I think it is a great sharpening system for sharpening, let's say, everyday kitchen knives. For example, with this big jig, you can hold pretty long blades. I have sharpened like almost machete long blades with it. You can sharpen it fairly easy. The main issue is first putting on the correct angle on the machine, so that you have the correct sharpening angle. And after you do that, it's nothing that hard. You just go around, across and back. Now let's talk about the cons, which I think are more than the pros. First of all, I think it needs a lot of maintenance. For example, as you see, this machine has sharpened maybe 100 knives, something like that, and the stone has gone pretty quick. I'd say about ½ inch is gone. And another issue is, I'll turn it on now. As you see, it is the leveling issue. See that? It is not level anymore, it is going up and down. It has a small curve, and that's what eventually happens when you sharpen a lot on any kind of stone. And it becomes more harder to hold the blade in one place and make sure to get a precise edge. So that's another con. And the most important con, which is close to what I said now, is the price of everything. First of all, the machine itself costs $415 at the moment of making this video. We actually paid about $450, as I remember properly. But okay, you can swallow that. Again, it's a big price, but you can swallow that if it was all. But then, if you are sharpening bigger knives, you need this bigger jig, which cost $60. I think I paid more when buying it. Then if you are like me and you like mirror finished edges, this stone is not enough. This is just a general maintenance stone. Then you need to get this Japanese water stone, which costs $270. If you need to sharpen scissors, then you need to get another jig, which is another $56. I think I even paid more for that. And if you want to continue getting precise edges and having a good stone, this is the stone maintenance tool. This grinds the stone on one level and comes to true again, and this costs $100. And to be fair, this Tormek T4 is their entry-level sharpening system. The bigger one, the T8 or the T7, I don't remember, it costs even more. Then comes one of my favorites, the Work Sharp sharpening systems. This is the original one, and my favorite is the Can Onion edition. As you see, I have 3 of them. I have one even brand new one. And in particular, their knife grinding attachment, which you see here. I think this is one of my favorite ways to sharpen knives. This is very easy to operate. It has a on button here, and this is the lock. It has angle guide here, so that you can put whatever angle you would like. And to sharpen a knife, you turn on the machine and put the blade against this wall on both sides so that you can sharpen your knives precisely on whatever angle you would like. It has different grit belts. It starts with 80, I think then it is 220 or something like that, then 1000 and then 6000. And I have went through with a lot of belts on this. Here's a few, to be honest. And if you thought that was a lot, here's more for you. So you get the idea with the amount of used belts I have, how much knives I have sharpened on this sharpener. I think it is overall great sharpener, but the problem I have with it is this. As you see, when you put in the blade and you move it outside, here, as you see, towards the tip, it is very easy to move it forward, because when you don't have a lot of experience and muscle memory, and especially when you are working with knives which has such fine tips, it is very easy when you're sharpening it to move the tip a little bit inside. It is enough just to move it a little bit inside so that the belt eats away the tip. And that again is another problem. Also, another problem I have with this is when you sharpen a lot of knives on it, these two sides, these two walls get small particles of metal inside them, and then they may scratch up the blade if it has a mirror or some kind of special finish on the blade. But to avoid that, they recommend to put some masking tape so that it is protected every time and you can avoid these scratches. Now, if you thought that was cool, this is whole another level of cool. It is a small, basically a small belt grinder. It has different grit belts which are longer and wider. This is the, I think, 220, then one is 300 or something like that, then 1000, and then 12,000. I think this is 12,000. So this comes in very handy, of course, generally for sharpening, because it is very easy to sharpen a knife on it. Here it has a small screw which adjusts the blade. As you see, the belt is centered now. You can put your angle right here. You just make the belt loose and move this up and down to have the correct angle that you want on your knife. Now today I want to show you this knife. It is a Jagdkit KNV2, and this is why you don't borrow your fancy knives that are razor sharp to your friends. Basically he chopped through some ribs and this happened, so now I'll try to fix this on this knife grinding attachment. Just like that, as you see, the knife is fixed back to its original shape. It was quite a lot of grinding with the rough belt. It was brand new and now it is a bit worn out, so that's another thing to consider. For me, this is one of the most fast and best knife sharpening options, just because it is very simple to use. It is very fast, but the downside is the cost of the belts. For example, this, how much is it? Five belt kit costs I think $35 or something like that when I bought it, and it's enough to sharpen maybe 50 blades if they are not too dull. I'd say something like that. Obviously the finer grades last longer. The aluminum oxide belts wear out quicker, and these kind of ceramic belts last longer. But $35 for 5 belts, I think it is quite a lot of money. I also have a big 2x72-inch grinder and one belt that huge size. Again, depends on the belt, but a belt like this, aluminum oxide, costs like $3 or $4. So $35 for 5 belts, I think, is a lot. I think more fair price would be like $20. That would be very good. As for the smaller belts, as I remember, the price of a 6-pack of belts is like $14 or $13 when I checked it. And I think when I got it, it was cheaper. We got a lot of belts, like 100 of belts about 1 year ago, and the price was $11, so it was pretty cheap. We have 3 work-sharp can onions, one the old one, and we also have one brand new can onion in the box just in case. Also, another thing to consider is that obviously you need a little bit more background. This is office of my friend. He started a knife sharpening business, and I helped him with my experience to assemble a sharpening kit and to assemble the office. So he bought all of this, and I spent quite a few months working on all of the sharpeners and doing sharpening services. And when I contacted a workshop after we already bought all of this, they said that the machine limit is 35 working hours. So we were pretty disappointed. 35 working hours, if you're a general, like maybe sharpening once a month type of guy, then it's okay. But when you are doing this commercially, that's nothing, 35 hours of working the machine. But we were scared for nothing. Both 3 machines have like maybe 100 hours on them, working hours, and one of them maybe even has more because it was the first one we used the most. So they are still in great working shape. They didn't need any fixing. They didn't have any problems. So they are very durable from my experience. As for the price, this costs $130, which I think is a fair price for what you're getting. And this knife grinding attachment costs $70 to $80, something like that. And maintenance, we didn't do any maintenance with this. Maybe what you can do with this is change these small rollers, which will be like nothing, because as you see, it gets eaten out after you use it a lot. So I think this is a great kit. I recommend it to you. When you want to sharpen knives, the first thing that you'll probably consider are sharpening stones. They are a very good option as well. They are very traditional, very efficient, very high quality sharpening, but again, you need a lot of experience and a lot of time to be good enough so that you get success every time. Now, the stones that I'm using are called king stone. They are not like super high-end stones. They cost like $50 on Amazon. One side is 800 grit and the other side is 6000 grit. So one is pretty coarse, second is very fine and gives you an amazing polish. Again, it is hard and takes a lot of practice to achieve good results with this method. You'll probably find something like this on Amazon for $10 or $15, and I'd say avoid something like this. It will do some sharpening in emergency, but it's not really efficient and high-end enough. Next up is the H Pro Apex. This is my go-to knife sharpening system when I'm sharpening basically any of my knives if they are not very, very dull, and all of the custom knives that I make. It comes with a bag like this. This is the base. As you see, it opens up. In here it has the main moving part, which helps you to sharpen. We'll also assemble it in a minute. It comes with a water bottle, some instructions, some CDs, and it also, of course, comes with sharpening stones. As you see, the most coarse is 120, then 220, then 400, 600, 1000, and then it comes with two plates like this, on which go 2000 and 3000 grit sandpaper. It has two types of attachments. This is the 1 point and this is the 2 point, which means that if you have this and you put on your blade, this will be holding it, and when you have this, you have a 2 point, 2 points coming in contact with the spine of the blade, so that you can make sure that you have the knife placed properly on the sharpening system. It also has a magnet here, which is very handy. As you see, it just holds the blade very securely. You just hold the knife just in case, so that it doesn't slip around. It also has this kind of leg. It goes on the bottom, has one simple screw on top. Just like that. And this way, when you put on the sharpener on the table, you can clamp it down with this leg. Then you take the moving part, and as you see, this hole is offset to one side, and you make sure that this rod goes on the proper side, so that the main moving rod is in the center of the sharpening system. You tighten it down. As you see on this rod, it has different colors, which means different angles. Then you can take your stone. I'll start with a 220 grit. Put on some masking tape so that you don't scratch your blade, just in case, with the small dust. You take the water bottle and make sure to make your stone. These are wet stones, so you need to make them wet, obviously. Needs still a little bit more water. I'll be sharpening this small folding knife. Now, how to properly set this? First of all, as you see, it is sharpened, but it actually has quite a few nicks, because I messed it up. As you see, it doesn't shave or anything. The proper way to set your knife on the Edge Pro is to make sure that one point has one side of the blade and the other point has the other side of your blade. Then you move up the holder just like that. This is when the 2 point holder comes in handy. You also take a marker, put it around the edge. The stone needs a bit more water. Then you put it on the blade and you try to eyeball the angle first. Then you do some grinding. And as you see, the marker which we put on there tells us a lot on where the stone is coming in contact to the edge. If you need to make any kind of adjustments, you make it there. You move the angle up or down. Or if it is just right, like in my case, you continue sharpening. You make sure that you don't roll the stone so that you destroy the edge. You need to make sure, if that is the issue, if you are rolling the stone on the end, you can do it like this as well. You don't need any kind of pressure. You just keep on doing it, and when you have a burr on the other side, you can feel it. Burr is a small part of metal that goes over the edge. Then you continue sharpening on this side. When you achieve a burr on this side as well, that's the time when you need to move on the more finer grit stone. Now I'm up to 1000 grit, and you can already tell the polishing it has is crazy. Some would say this is enough, but this is not enough. Wait till you see the finished product. I'm doing the finishing touches with the 3000 grit. Now let's do same amount of strokes on each side. 1, 2, 3. Now on another side. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 1, and that's it. There. I don't know how much you can see the edge, but this is what's called a real mirror sharp edge. Here's a little shaving test. That's just straight razor sharp. It's like a straight razor. Let's even out the hair on both ends. It's crazy how it is. It's just hair popping sharp. And just like that, you can see a mirror edge that we were able to achieve. If I spent a little bit more time on it, it would be even better. Let's do the paper test. You know, your knife is not sharp until you do the paper test. That's straight up like a razor. And you have to consider that this knife had a lot of nicks in it. Just like that. How long did it take? What was it? 1 minute? Not 1 minute, but it was about 2 to 3 minutes. And all of the nicks were gone. And it has a perfect edge. Now I have knives that I have spent even more time on this Edge Pro sharpener, and they are like literally like a straight razor. Another thing to consider is a bench grinder. They usually come with this kind of very rough stones, very low quality, and with my experience this goes so fast that it is like a matter of seconds when you overheat the blade and ruin the knife. So this is for some really rough grinding or maybe some axe work, but a bench grinder gives you the opportunity to maybe do some restoring on the knives. On this side I have a wire wheel, and on this side I have a polishing wheel. You add some compound on this and make mirror finishes on your knives. But on a bench grinder like this, you can get some paper wheels. I actually don't have it. I didn't have the chance to try it. They are wheels like this, which are made of paper, and they have some kind of compound, I think, on them. And they achieve like very good edges in just a few minutes. Many people who I really trust and who are even more experienced than me do that. So that's why I can recommend that to you as well, to try it out. They go for like $50 or so. Now, as a bonus, I wanted to show you guys this sharpener. Again, as I said, I was not ready to film this video today, therefore I didn't bring any chisels or gouges with me. This is a chisel and gouge sharpener by WorkSharp as well. It is, I want to recommend this to you as a kind of bonus because it is just amazing at sharpening chisels. I have restored like very like junk condition chisels to very high-end razor sharp. It has different discs. It has a glass disc, as you see, and you put different grit sandpapers on each side. You put your chisel right here, work on the edge, then work on the flat side on top, It also has this kind of wheels. This is for sharpening gouges. You put this on, and when this spins fast, you can actually see beneath it when you are sharpening a gouge under it from this side, from right here. You can see where you are removing metal, and it is a very efficient way to sharpen your gouges. No matter what kind of sharpening method I do, I always finish with the leather strop and some compound. Now with a few words what I recommend and to who. I think the Tormek is a great knife sharpening system if you have extra $2,000 laying around to spend on a knife sharpener. So if you have that kind of money, then go ahead, it's a good kit. But even if you have the $2,000, it is just for like regular knives. I think this is far more superior, and the workshop is far more superior than that. As for the workshop, if you are looking for maybe your first knife sharpening system, I would recommend you take the workshop. It takes very little skill, it is very easy to work with, it gives you very good results. And if you want to sharpen maybe scissors as well, and maybe axes or stuff like that, you can also do that with the grinding attachment that the workshop K9 edition has. It is a very nice sharpening system. As I said, I have sharpened anything from like this size small blade to like a machete or something like that, or an axe. I have sharpened everything on that knife grinding attachment. But again, the thing to consider is that the belts are quite expensive and they wear out pretty quick. As for the H Pro Apex, I think this is for a person who is like me, that doesn't call a knife sharp unless it has a mirror finish on it. Yes, you can get a mirror finish on the workshop. Probably you can get a mirror finish on the Tormek as well if you spend $2,000 on it. But a mirror finish like this is whole another level. Plus on the workshop, because the belt bends when you sharpen on it, it gives kind of a little bit of convex edge, which is good for durability, but this gives a straight edge, precise edge all the time, and I love it. Thing to consider is that no one is paying me to say anything that I said today. All of these machines and all of these hundreds of, maybe even 200 belts were bought by me and my friend for this office. I have sharpened, as you saw by the used blades on the workshop, I have sharpened more than 1,000 knives, plus added to that the custom knives I have made. If you don't know, I also make custom knives as a living. I will include a link down in the description to my Etsy shop and to my other social media as well. You can check it out. And as for the H Pro Apex, to finish it, I would recommend this to anyone who's a knife enthusiast, who has more than a few knives, who has some kind of knives which take care to sharpen, for example a Damascus blade or something like that, because on the workshop it is very easy. If you are doing rough grinding, there are some sanding marks on the edge, so that's another thing to consider. With this, there is zero chance of you messing up the knife, messing up the finish on the knife, and it takes very minimal skill to make it. And also, from what I see, the stones last very well as well, compared to the big water stones, which is here. Speaking about water stones, if you want traditional sharpening, this is also a great option. This wears out pretty quickly, and when it has an edge like this, surface like this, then you need some surface conditioning stones to grind it out and make it flat again. I use this to sharpen Japanese chef knives, which have single bevels. And it is very good as well, but it takes a lot of practice and a lot of skills. To be honest, I still have not mastered this method, even though I have sharpened a lot of knives on it. So I think that will be all for today. I will include all of the important links down in the description. You should definitely check it out. Thank you very much for watching, and see you guys in the next one, hopefully in the outdoors. Take care and have a nice day. God bless.